so week 5. Um, Supposed to play the guy that I played in the second week, who I had. Uh, I won the first time I played him, four games to one, but he didn't show, so they put up a different player. They put up an 8, who actually I usually warm up with the guy because we both get there a little bit early to warm up, and he's a good player. He's he's a solid 8, and of course I was an 8. So it was a 4-4 race, and I will tell you that the first rack we started out in a safety battle. It was either 4 or 5 full innings of safeties, kicking back and forth and resafing the other player. Um, I ended up winning that safety battle and getting ball in hand. And when I did, I had moved things around so that they were not bunched up and there was a run out on the table. And I ran down to the 9 and then hung the 9 in the pocket. So he ended up winning. Uh, and from there, I fell apart. Um, Second game, he played a really nice safety, froze me to the 7 ball, leaving me the only shot that I could even try was the Efren Z shot, and I missed it. It happens. And then the last game, um, he ran out the second rack. The last game he ran out the second. Um, and the third was the Z shot, and then the last rack, I broke and ran down to the 8. I had the 8 by the side pocket. I'll probably show you this on the table. I had the 8 by the side pocket, and the angle that I got on the 8, I had to bump the 9, which was against the rail right there next to the 8. So I bumped it hard enough that you would expect it to go down to the end rail and bounce up, and you'd expect the cue ball to bounce out a little bit, so that you had an angle even if the 9 stayed by the rail. As it was, the 9 stayed by the end rail, and the cue ball stayed by the side rail. They just died. I would have expected them to bounce out, and they didn't. And so, oh, and by the way, the 9 that I hung, I had rolled it, and it rolled off. So I played a safe, and he kicked the 9 in, and ultimately that was it. But along the way, my stats weren't all that horrible. Of course, my match efficiency went down. Now, an interesting thing is my speed went up. I'm a 9 now. I was an 8. Now I'm a 9. This B plus, A plus that you've been seeing, and the B plus, that is purely off of match efficiency. Um, so I only played 5 matches. I won 4 out of 5, and that makes me a B plus. Okay, so and you can see that here. That's where I dropped to a B plus. Uh, Shot percent in 4 racks. That's 45 balls. I got 22 shots and I made 16 of them. 2 of the shots missed were the 9 balls. One of the shots missed was the 9 ball um, that I hung in the first rack. And then after that, I was just being too careful. Breaks went up, two breaks, 2 results. Um, Fouled in 2 games. And then safeties, played 9 safeties, 8 were successful. The one that was unsuccessful, he pocketed the 9 ball. So yeah. So anyhow, those are the stats. Pretty much everything went up except for shot percent and of course win and match percent. He won 4-0. I just never got things going, and that first rack really screwed me up in the head. because it literally rolled off. So I gave the momentum to him and he continued with it. Everything else, break percents went up a little bit. Foul percent stayed about the same. I think it was 25%. It went up to 30. Uh, Misses per game, I was at exactly one last week. Now I'm 1.07. So didn't miss that much more than I already did. Um, Safety or strategy quotient went up from a C minus to a B minus. No break and run. Effective safeties went up, and positive safety returns stayed the same. So those are my stats for week 5. Um, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it last week, but I am now breaking with the 9 on the spot and following the 3-point rule. Um, this this rack is interesting in that it's all going to be on this opening shot. Now, if I was playing this in a tournament, the right shot is, you're going to see me aim it here in a second. The right shot is to come off the side of the 1, roll 2 rails, and freeze behind the 7. That's the right shot for a tournament, but I'm not playing a tournament. I'm playing to run racks. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot this out very, very aggressively. I looked initially at the 3 rail to the 5, trying to come off the 1 on the left side and around the bottom rail, right long rail, and up to the 5. And there you saw me. I was measuring out the bank, and it's really, really close to this 4. In fact, it's probably too close to be safe. So what I'm going to have to do on this shot is I'm going to have to hit this with extreme right English, shoot it straight into the rail and let the spin carry it just to get an extra half inch between the 4 and the 1 ball. And it goes in, but I do have to let the cue go. I hit it just a little bit harder, but I had to make the shot. So I end up with shooting over the 6. This rack is just like every shot has a different problem. So now I'm going to shoot the 3 in the side, which is not a hugely hard cut. It's a cut, but I'm going to have to let the cue go. And since it's a thin cut, you have very little control over the speed. The speed is very touchy. I end up with this tough cut on the 4, again a thin cut, but now I can go back and forth off the rail to get my leave on the 5. Now the problem on this 5 is that if I shoot this with like top left English like I normally would, or left English of any kind like I normally would, I'm going to be behind the 9 for a big portion of the shot. So I need to go under the 9, between the 9 and the 6, and come out for the shot on the 6. Okay, I get there and I'm finally in line. I have finally gotten in line on this rack, but now I have to go get the bridge. uh, and so, the with the bridge, I tend to overhit the balls. Everybody either overhits or underhits off of a bridge. I tend to overhit, which is okay. I've got a natural angle to the 7, but I do overhit it. I have a choice here. I could. There are 2 ways I could run forward. I could run forward with either side English. If I use inside English, then I run forward to the end rail and spin back towards the 8. If I use outside running English, I go 2 rails to the 8. But both of those are kind of risky, so I choose just to hit it as soft as I can and take the hard shot on the 8. Now I am going to have to come across the table for the 9. I would much rather have been straight in so I could just stop it there and shoot the 9 in the corner. But, hey, c'est la guerre. Make the 8, I come across. I want to get as much angle as I can without risking being on the rail. This is a spot shot. The 9 is still sitting on the spot. Everybody practices spot shots. This should be an easy make. I do hit this a bit hard, and I flirt with the side pocket. Yeah, I kind of got lucky there. The good news is the angle wasn't real good to fall in the side, but the speed was almost perfect to get there. All right, speeding through the rack. So as far as the UPA on Monday, I'm actually not all that upset. We all have bad days. I was just an inch off on my speed, and the table inconsistencies really got me. Okay, so here's my biggest problem with the one on or 9 on the spot. I can't make a ball. And you can see there, I really have nothing, and I didn't meet the 3 points.